History often remembers the powerful, kings, generals, prophets, but sometimes a story survives because of a small act performed by someone almost entirely unknown. The woman remembered as Saint Veronica appears only in tradition, not in the canonical texts of the New Testament, yet her story endured for centuries. According to Christian memory, she stood along the road where Jesus Christ carried the cross toward execution. Crowds gathered. Soldiers moved the procession forward, and in the midst of the noise and fear, one woman stepped forward. She carried a cloth, not a weapon, not a protest, just a small act of compassion. She wiped the face of a condemned man. When she pulled the cloth away, something extraordinary was said to remain. An image, a face, a memory that would not fade. The story unfolds on the path Christians later called the Via Dolorosa. It was the road leading to the execution site known as Golgotha. Roman executions were public. The condemned were displayed, mocked, and forced through crowded streets. For the followers of Jesus, the moment was chaotic and frightening. Many hid. Some watched from a distance. But one woman moved toward the suffering rather than away from it. She approached him through soldiers and onlookers, and for a brief moment the procession paused. The gesture itself was simple. Veronica offered a cloth so Jesus could wipe the sweat and blood from his face. In a world where crucifixion stripped a person of dignity, the act restored a small fragment of humanity. According to tradition, when the cloth was returned, the image of his face had been left upon it, not painted, not drawn, imprinted. The cloth would later be known as the Veil of Veronica, a face preserved in fabric, a memory made visible. Interestingly, the name Veronica may not have existed before the story. Many scholars believe it developed from the Latin phrase vera icon, true image. Over time, the phrase became a name, Veronica, a person shaped by the memory of an object, or perhaps an object shaped by the memory of a person. In this way, the story and the name grew together, one explaining the other. By the Middle Ages, Veronica's act had become an essential moment within Christian devotion. Her encounter appears in the Stations of the Cross, a sequence of meditations on the final journey of Jesus. Pilgrims walking the path would pause at each station. They remembered falls, encounters, and acts of compassion. Veronica's station marked something unusual. Not suffering inflicted, but kindness offered, a quiet interruption in the machinery of punishment. The image of the veil fascinated medieval Europe. Artists attempted to recreate it again and again. Paintings and icons depicted the cloth held open, the face of Christ appearing upon it. The image was called the Sudarium of Veronica. Unlike other religious images, it was believed not to be created by human hands. Instead, it was thought to be a direct impression, a portrait formed by contact alone. Despite her importance in devotion, Veronica does not appear in the canonical Gospels. The four traditional accounts, Matthew the Apostle, Mark the Evangelist, Luke the Evangelist, and John the Apostle, never mention her. Her story instead emerged from later Christian tradition. Pilgrim stories, sermons, oral memory, which raises a quiet historical possibility. The story survived not because it was written first, but because it was remembered. Whether historical or symbolic, Veronica's act carried meaning. Roman executions were designed to erase dignity. Spectators were expected to observe, not intervene. By stepping forward, Veronica violated the unspoken rules of the spectacle. She acknowledged the humanity of the condemned. In doing so, she changed nothing about the outcome. The execution continued, but the moment of compassion remained. The veil itself became one of the most famous relics associated with the Passion. Over the centuries, several churches claimed to possess it. One of the most widely known traditions placed the veil of Veronica in St. Peter's Basilica, where it was reportedly preserved among the most sacred relics of the church. Medieval pilgrims visiting Rome sometimes travelled great distances, hoping to glimpse it during rare public displays. But the veil's history is uncertain. Over time, wars, fires, and the quiet passage of centuries obscured its trail. Some historians believe the original relic may have been lost, hidden, or replaced by copies created for devotion. Little else is known about Veronica. No birthplace, no biography, no confirmed history, only a single act preserved by centuries of retelling. But sometimes a single act is enough. A cloth offered in compassion, a face remembered in fabric, and a reminder that history is not shaped only by power or authority. Sometimes it is shaped by those who step forward for a moment when everyone else steps back. Some stories fade, others wait to be heard,